Hey all, this is 11am-12pm and I'm coming at you with another review of, yep, you guessed it, 24 Season 1. Yes, we are on another review of 24 Season 1, and again, I've got to clean the screen. I've got to work on that. I keep saying I need to clean it and I never do. Well, all the things that you need to do but you forget. Yeah, we are on 24 Season 1, episode 11 a.m. to noon, 12 p.m. We are on that episode, and stuff heated up in this episode with various things. First of all, Jack Bauer, who is still with, he was called Alan York, but I keep thinking Alan York's the real name and Kevin Carroll was the made-up name, but his real name is Kevin Carroll. He took the position of Alan York, and Kevin Carroll is bringing Jack to his family, and he's on his way to the compound to get there. He actually does arrive at the compound in this episode, and he has Alan York at gunpoint, and Jack's hidden, of course, to get inside Ira Gaines's base to save his family. It's funny because I watched this episode as well with my mom a while ago, and she said, Jack Bauer was better off killing Alan York, but again, Jack Bauer, I should say, I think was believing in, keeping his word and a way of true justice to where, Alan York would be prosecuted 9/10 of the law, probably go to prison, face the death penalty, but, give, Kevin Carroll a chance at, having that. Because there's a part where when he's asking Kevin Carroll where his family is, Kevin points to it, and then he tries to fight Jack off, but Jack basically knocks him out and ties him up with duct tape, and then puts the seatbelt all around him, wrapping it around his head, gagging and blindfolding him. It's really hilarious. Sadly, he's discovered by Neil Choi, Al Leong's character, who finds the car hidden in the woods. But what happens is Jack finds his family. He sneaks around very well and stealthily, finds his family in the shed. The family does celebrate. They are happy to see him. At this point, Terry and Kim have hidden the body of Eli Strom, who was killed the last episode. He's hidden under a tub, the pager, the beeper, and Terry Bauer, I think, turned off the pager. They had the gun under there, and all these different things. But as it went on, Jack got there. Dan actually comes in to tell Kim what's going on because Ira Gaines is getting ready to move out because, again, what was it? Forgetting his name. Andre Drazen said, your time's up. In the last episode, you got to get going. So Ira Gaines is trying to pack up to the meeting point, and, Rick is sort of canoodling around, not wanting to, do anything and really do it. He's trying to get out of there himself. And, Ira Gaines asks Rick to go find out what's happening with Eli. Rick goes down. Jack doesn't trust Rick. He's almost choking him. Kim and Terry get Jack off of him. Like, not physically, but they convince Jack. Jack holds back, doesn't do anything. They're trying to get to the car. But they don't know how, and Rick's like, well, hey, I could take one of the vans that we're trying to get out of here, to get you guys out of here. So they go with that plan. Sadly, as Rick is trying to get the car, Ira Gaines, gets a message from Neil about finding, Kevin unconscious, and basically, Ira Gaines and Rick in the van go to check on Kevin Carroll. Sadly, they find Kevin Carroll because Neil already got him out of the car. They wake him up. Kevin Carroll's going over what happened and how Jack Bauer's there. Rick, being smart, slowly backs away, takes the van, takes off. Ira Gaines knows that Rick's betrayed them, and Rick gets there with the van. They try to take off. Ira Gaines and his men, cut them off. They shoot. They actually do break through the compound. They're dragging part of the barbed wire fence with them. The tires aren't popped yet, but Ira Gaines, with a rifle, shoots out one of the tires, and they're basically screwed there. But they get out of the car, use it for cover. Ira Gaines and his men in an awesome firefight in the scene, fight off Jack, fight off Rick, who's got an Uzi or type of SMG, I think. I'm not sure. Sorry guys, I'm not the biggest person on guns, so I apologize. But they're fighting them off. They're taking cover behind the tires. You have Jack Bauer tell Terry Bauer and Kim to run and get out of there. Don't look back. Run to the creek bed. You'll find a silo I found there, hiding there. It should be good. And then, they start doing that. And Rick and Jack are laying down cover. There's too many men. They're taking out some, but not enough. Rick gets injured a little bit in the firefight. Jack, at the time, hits the gas tank underneath with a knife or punctures it with something sharp. I think it's a knife. And he basically starts using Rick's Uzi to light it up, and his men are getting close to the van. The van explodes, killing a good portion of them. There's still a lot there, and they're chasing after Jack and Rick. Jack takes Rick with him, even though Rick is injured, and he says, you're still coming with. You did a good thing. The wound isn't bad. I'll try to dress it, but come on, we need to keep going. I'm not going to leave you here. Also, around this time, when Nina and Tony are still trying to help Jack, you have Alberta Green suspect that they're hiding out more and they know where Jack is. They're trying to do their work. Alberta Green stops them. She puts them on a temporary suspension, and she says, I know you both know about Jack, but if you guys don't tell me where Jack is, I'm going to charge you both with treason and all these other capital offenses, so tell me where he is or he's in trouble. They both refuse. They both go to a waiting room, and then you have Nina and Tony get grilled. She doesn't go to Nina first. She goes to Tony, and she really lays it down to Tony about losing his career, what it means to hide for Jack. I know you care about Nina. All these things to test him. And Alberta Green actually does start to wear down Tony's armor. And she leaves Tony alone to where she asks, Tony, you can tell me or you could go to prison. And she's like, I will guarantee you that. You will go to prison. And as soon as she comes back and it looks like Tony is going to cave, Jack calls in, or CTU tells Alberta Green they have a call from Jack. So Alberta picks up, and Jack's like, could you send a team? And Alberta wants to know where Jack is, but Jack's saying, hey, I will turn myself into you, surrender myself into CTU in federal custody when my family is safe. So that basically saved Tony, and Nina, got back on their work to help out Jack with what they needed to do. And Tony tells Nina, he told this a little earlier, but he told Nina he was doing this for her, and that if Jack didn't call where he did, he may have caved to Alberta Green to say what they were doing with Jack. And then you have this episode also continue with Senator David Palmer, and Senator David Palmer, who was trying to get a hold of Dr. Ferragamo in the last episode, because Carl said on behalf of his constituents that they made this very veiled threat that Dr. Ferragamo is going to be taken care of, and, that they're probably going to plan to kill him. You have David Palmer tried to call Dr. Ferragamo, got his message. Mike isn't happy about that because Senator David Palmer tells Mike that he tried to hold of him, and, Mike Novik's like, you're exposing yourself. You're running for president. Do you realize how stupid this is? and in many ways, when you are a big-time candidate, if this ever got out, people could use this against him for Keith's son committing murder and a whole bunch of other different things. So, yeah, I agree with Mike Novik on that. And then, David Palmer gets through, tries to warn Dr. Ferragamo. They get in a little spat where, they talk about how, you broke your ethics talking to my son, and, you're the one trying to silence me now, blah, blah, blah. But neither one are listening to the other. So Ferragamo hangs up, Palmer tries to get through, and then he wants to physically go see Dr. Ferragamo. Mike Novik's against it, doesn't want to do it, but Palmer wins out, and, they ride in a singular Secret Service SUV or van. They get there to notice Dr. Ferragamo's the office is on fire, like something happened, and Mike Novik goes to find out, and they said there was a gas explosion from a gas leak, and Palmer immediately believes Carl Webb and his cohorts did this, and doesn't buy it for a second that this is a true, legit accident. And you have Senator Palmer wanting to expose himself more because he's angered, he's off the cuff. Mike tells him, not this way, David. This is the absolute wrong way to play this. Not this way. So again, it's just great acting from Jude Chicolella. I always can never pronounce that guy's name right. I'm sorry, Jude Chicolella, if that's how you say her name. And, Dennis Haysbert. And overall, the actors in this one, again, Kiefer Sutherland, Jack Bauer did really good. Leslie Hope, Terry Bauer did really good. Sarah Clark, Nina Myers. I'll say Alicia Cuthbert, Kim Bauer did good in this one too. Dennis Haysbert, Senator David Palmer, phenomenal. And again, I'm saying Kiefer Sutherland is Jack Bauer's phenomenal, but he's great in almost every episode he is in every episode. He's great in every episode he's in. Michael Massey, Ira Gaines, superb. Tamara Tooney in this one, superb. Daniel Bess, Rick Allen, really good. I already said Jude Chicolella. Let's see. Well, John Prosky as Dr. George Ferragamo was good, but it was really short, and we really didn't get to see much of John Prosky in this episode. And, he's dead soon after, so, John Prosky, I'm pretty sure you're a good actor, but, we didn't really get to see you, so you're not on the list, but I'll give you a mention here anyway. Carlos Bernard, Tony Almeida, Richard Burgee, Kevin Carroll, and, hey, I love Al Leon as Neil Choi, because obviously 80s, 90s action actor, always played supporting background characters, was always good in every role he was in, because he always had one of those faces, and, Neil Choi did no martial arts, he was always a tough guy or mercenary type guy, always played those roles well, so Al Leon, love you, man, so shout out to you really right there. If I had to give top credit, I've got to say, and this is not to say that the action or the villains weren't really good in this episode, because like I said, everybody was good in this episode. I have to give it to 3 people, probably really quickly, since I went through everybody on the list. Tamara Tooney, who played Alberta Green, really good protagonist trying to move up the ladder and intimidate Nina and Tony. I have to give it to Jude Chicolella from Mike Novick, who played it really well about this whole Dr. Ferragamo thing, his nervousness, his wanting to see the power play here and all this. And then Dennis Haysbert, who played Senator David Palmer, who's about to throw everything away to expose this thing the wrong way. Because yes, you're upset with all this, but they have no proof to expose it. But he's willing to throw it all away because this is how upset Senator David Palmer is. So those are the guys that really stand out. But overall, this is a great show and a great episode. What do you guys think? Again, have you guys seen 24? Have you seen any of these? Just leave a comment down below and we will begin this discussion soon, alright? Until then, this is 11am-12pm, and I'll talk to you again, guys, later, alright? Okie dokie.